States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I want to welcome everybody. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. Clerk, roll call.
Trustee Sewell. Stewart.
Here.
Paul.
Present.
Gunther.
Yes.
Supervisor Cox.
Here. All right, we're going to start. Hopefully everybody's got an agenda, and we'll start with public comments. If you'd like to speak, you have 5 minutes, and you can come up to the podium. And if you could remember to state your name and your address for the record. And I also just want to mention that I know that the reason that a lot of you are here tonight. We all know. And I believe that we all care. We're all good people. And so just remember that when you're making your comments that we all want the best thing. We're all in this together. And so just want to say that before we start. So glad you're here. Feel free to step up to the podium.
Right up here. There's a mic.
Microphone right here, sir.
Hi, my name is Gary Key. I'm from Maryville, Illinois, and I'm here because of the proposed amendment to let the homeless people use this area to stay overnight. I guess in the wintertime, I guess. I don't know what. It says temporary, but temporary could be the next 20 years. And I want you to know that I'm highly against it because this area here, the seniors, this is the only place we have in Collinsville. And it's full every day from morning to evening, every day except the weekends, of course, when it's closed. So there's got to be some other area in Collinsville that can be a shelter for these homeless people. I have nothing against the homeless people. I mean, I know it's a fact of life. But there's also the teepee, which is sitting empty, the Splash City, which is empty most of the time, the Collinsville Convention Center is empty a lot of the time, and a lot of the area churches take these homeless people in. So I just don't want to see this center taken away from the seniors. This is all we have, and we've worked our whole life. We're retired, we pay taxes our entire life, and we'd like to keep our center as it is. Thank you.
Here comes our CSC, he calls it the Sound Council Social Club, president, Bill.
There's one member, and I'm always going to be president. But what Gary said is true. And my name is Ben Jarrett. I live at 131 Roger Drive, Collinsville, Illinois, 62234. And one of my big concerns, if they're here, they're going to want to take showers and stuff. We don't have facilities for that. We had a problem years ago with them trying to take baths in the men's room in there, and that was a problem. So I'm totally against it, and I hope everybody will listen to the seniors, because this is one voice. We're all here, and I'm speaking for some of the people that don't want to get up here and make a fool out of themselves like I do. So, thank you.
Kept it short too.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
No. Yes,
My name is Wendy Porter, and I live on Judah Avenue here in Collinsville. I had some questions. Who's going to set up and clean up before and after the, in the evening and I think this is more appropriate for churches to do for the homeless than for the senior center. And I'm afraid that they will not, it sounds horrible, but I don't mean to say they, but the homeless will have no reason to leave in the morning. The center's open all day. Anyone's welcome. I guess you're supposed to be a senior, and probably many homeless are not. They don't live that long. But I'm worried that the center's going to become a homeless shelter, basically. And this is here to serve the senior citizens. It's the only thing we have. Thank you.
is Don Cox. I live at 842 Austell. And I've got a few questions here. How cold does it have to be to allow people to come in to warm up? That'd be one of your criterias. Can this facility be used as a cooling center also? We don't want to discriminate against seasons. Define temporary. Some of the questions you should ask. Who's going to pay for the increase in utility bills? Taxpayers? Who will be supervising this project? Will this be a paid position coming out of taxpayers' money? How about the insurance cost? Taxpayers on the hang for that also? Have you checked with other facilities to fill this role? Like somebody said, teepee has been closed for years. Library, school gyms, school board offices and meeting rooms. Those are all facilities that could be checked out. There's also a vagrancy law in the books in Collinsville. Maybe the police station would welcome them in. No? I think all these questions should be discussed before we go off making a half-cocked decision. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Margot Krell. I am at 1279 Vandalia in Collinsville. I had some concerns about expenses to the taxpayers. We will have to have safety. We hire union employees at the facility, so there would be security at night, extra expense to the taxpayers. And then cleaning for the morning, including the bathrooms, the tables and the chairs, all the door handles, etc. So there's an extra expense there will have to be done every day to ensure the safety of all of our seniors that we currently serve. Also, any homeless that are here 50 and over, they can remain all day for meals, to spend their times here, make this their actual home. And then recently, I had the privilege of some questions regarding the center and about how does it serve seniors? How does it benefit taxpayers? You know, and my answer to that was, this is the largest generation of seniors of all time in history. And the seniors here, some eat their only meals here. They come here and socialize, and it's statistically, happy seniors are healthy seniors. How does it help the taxpayers? It reduces your Medicare costs. It reduces because we have happy, healthy seniors.
Hi, I'm Lisa Brennan. I live on Echo Drive here in Collinsville. I just wanted to address some of these really good questions and concerns. I am here just as a citizen in Collinsville, not on behalf of any organization, but I can tell you for 2.5 years, various groups have been meeting trying to address this issue of finding a place, a suitable place, where we could open an overnight warming location that serves all ages. And so when we talk about homeless, there are different levels of homelessness. If you read the attachment that was put together for this meeting, just in our school district, we have 526 kids who are considered to be homeless. So when we think homeless, most of us think oh, that guy who's sleeping on the park bench, right? But there are different variations of homelessness, including what they call couch surfing, staying on a friend or a neighbor's couch. It's about housing instability. And so somebody asked, well, what's the temperature? What's the cutoff line? If we were to move forward with this, as I hope we will someday soon, we would have a location that is centrally located. And the overnight warming locations in Alton, they've been in operation for years, and the one in Edwardsville, this is their second year, their temperature cutoff is at 20 degrees or below. There's solid reasons for setting it at that. Somebody brought up the point about, well, what about in the summer? So in the summer, the danger is during the day, the hottest part of the day. We have cooling centers already, our VFW, our library. Somebody else brought up something about the police station. The police station also allows people to come and take shelter in their lobby, to use it as a cooling center or to get out of the really frigid temperatures. So the Collinsville Police Department is already on board. A very good question about, who's working this? Who's supervising this? Who's going to do the cleaning and the safety? So the way these other programs have been set up, and we would likely very much model after what they've already got put together, it is run by volunteers. And if you've witnessed the volunteers in Collinsville at work for SOS Soup Kitchen, or any of the other organizations that are volunteer-based, it's pretty amazing. It would be volunteers. Insurance was also brought up. That was one of the first things businesses and churches said, whoa, our insurance would skyrocket. So a number of us from churches and nonprofit organizations checked into that. The insurance rates, provided you follow some basic rules, separating men and women, that kind of thing, they don't go up substantially. We have checked with other facilities. Again, I've been a part of this movement for about 2.5 years. I volunteered here before COVID when we had a warming center at this location. So we have checked into TP. We have been talking to churches. Those talks will continue. I don't think tonight there's going to be an answer, right? But I'm really thrilled that all of you are here to become more aware of this situation and the movement to provide an overnight warming location. A really important point that someone brought up too is about people who are ages 50 and older. So I work with a nonprofit that works with older people, and every year at this time, I'm getting phone calls from residents in Collinsville who are older and their furnace is out. So if there were to be a mass power outage of some kind, the city has already said they would open up the Gateway Convention Center or some other large facility. But on those nights when there are kids from our school district and their family doesn't have heat, or some of our older population who are living in homes without furnaces, a temporary warming location is just that. You set it up so that they come in the evening, they're out early in the morning. Then they can go to another warming location. But I think you bring up some real valid fears. This is your center. It's your senior center. And I don't think anyone is suggesting that you would lose that. You've worked hard for that. It's a beautiful place being used well. This is something separate during off hours.
Who's going to provide the services, cleaning the bathrooms?
So what
every
they
morning after the homeless spend the...
Yeah, that's a great question. So what they've been doing in Alton for many years and in Edwardsville for 2 years is they have teams of volunteers. And it is the volunteers who do that.
And we're at 5 minutes, but what I was gonna say, appreciate your comments, and we're
Sure.
going to discuss this. We're gonna discuss this. This is just the public comment time.
Thanks.
So thank you, Lisa.
Thanks.
Sorry, dear, I didn't mean to.
Thanks, Susan. All right, am I good?
Yeah.
Good.
All right, I'm Paul Nicolussi. I live at 221 Windridge Drive, Collinsville, Illinois. For those of you who don't know, I'm a county board member for District 23. It intersects on West Main, turns over to County Board-elect Linda Wolf, who's also in the audience at 22. So much of the downtown region is mine. will be affected by this change if it is made.
That mic moves, by the way, you can push it, there you go.
Is that better? All right. I won't make everybody deaf. All right, during the course of this year, I went to over 3,500 doors in the Collinsville, Maryville area. I literally spoke to thousands of constituents, and one of the things that kept coming up over and over again was how much they like the senior center. It's been a remarkable transformation over the last 3.5 years. As a county board member, I look at what other townships are doing all over the county. It's part of my job as oversight. I can honestly say the Collinsville, Maryville Township is the best run in the county. All you guys do a good job. You collectively come together. I'd love to keep it that way. And like I said, I've stated publicly on numerous occasions. I can tell you with confidence, and the people in my district do not want to transform the senior center into an overnight warming center for the area's homeless. I'm not opposed to a warming center. I think the traditional route of churches and volunteers is the way to go. As a matter of fact, I think a couple organizations have said they would help. I don't know how we're at this point, honestly. So I had a few questions, but I don't need to be redundant here. A lot of people said something about cost, sterilization, who's going to clean up. I can tell you I did talk to City Manager Derek Jackson. The cost will be 100% on the township. You will not get help from the city. So that's just something to consider. Also, I have a question too about what was the purpose of, obviously you can't answer now, but what was the purpose of bringing this to the floor without kind of discussing this before? Because more than likely you're going to figure out this isn't feasible. It should have been handled before. As a county board rep, I can say we get tons of stuff. We weed it out before it gets to the floor. Otherwise, board meetings would be about 7 or 8 hours every time. So what I'm trying to figure out is who wants to turn the senior center into a warming center for the area's homeless? Nobody. I have not talked to one person. I have not talked to one city leader.
Then why are we discussing it?
Well, unfortunately, I think this is a political stunt by a trustee, and this is not an isolated incident by any means. At the beginning of the summer, I'm just giving you guys context for what we're dealing with. At the beginning of the summer, the air conditioning broke at the office for the animal shelter in the county. It was broke for 24 hours. It was fixed within a day. Okay? The trustee took to the airwaves and social media and spread a rumor that it has been broken for 5 years. Should have called me. I'm their county board rep. That was not true. It was broke for 24 hours. I went to the animal shelter the next day. They have a ventilation system that goes around to cleans out all the
Point of order.
smell of.
What's it have to do with the subject?
Yeah, this has nothing to do with it.
No, but this is
It's a public comment. I'm speaking about how we got here.
Let him finish.
Okay, so anyway, it was 72 degrees when I got in. So that's just something that should have been handled that way. And another incident that happened just like this, another political stunt, was at the Collinsville Library. There's a book called At Satan's Altar, put in the library. We all heard about it. Unfortunately, it was on the news. And it's a really embarrassing thing for Collinsville to be known to have a satanic book in their library. No other library in the area has it. And it was said on the news. So this led to the same trustee went on social media, put a pro-satanic book post up, and led to a protest, which was a spectacle to see. That's all I can say. I was there. There will be a police presence there because the library board the library board president called local police. So what I'm saying here, guys, is this is not something we should do. And for the life of me, I can't understand why we're even talking about this. I mean, I understand people don't agree with some elected officials. They may support other elected officials, but you have to work with who you're working with. And political stunts just create chaos and discord in our community. We do not need any more of them. That's all I got.
Okay.
I got
All right.
some.
No, Scott.
Good evening. My name is Rich Coates. I live at 818 Needler, Collinsville, Illinois, 62234. First of all, I'd like to point something out that's obvious, but maybe not understood. The title of this building is Collinsville Senior Center, not Collinsville Homeless Center, not Collinsville Warming Center. It is the Senior Center. Seniors come here to interact, and to have a social life that they may not have sitting at home. Number one. Number two, in my job before I retired, unfortunately, I had the unfortunate experience of dealing with a number of homeless people in the Collinsville area, the Alton area, and other places. Dealing with homeless people, just because you say it's time to leave, doesn't mean they're leaving. If you say you can't do that, doesn't mean they're not going to do it. It's a different clientele, it's a different breed. And what my fear is, if you come to this situation and say, we're going to do this anyway, this center will probably die. The seniors will quit coming because they're going to be fearful. They're going to be, somebody brought up sanitation. Well, what if the bathrooms aren't clean? People come in here that are homeless and they have bed bugs or whatever else they have, and they leave it as a deposit to all of us. We don't need that. There's other places they can go. The city is, like I said, opened up the main convention center. That holds thousands of people. We could hold maybe 30, and where are we going to put them? Are we moving the tables out of the way? Who's setting up? Who's tearing down? And one last question. If all these potential volunteers one night don't decide to show up, how many of you sitting at this table are coming to take their place? Thank you.
You have 1:30 left now.
You do, I don't. I'm the president. My name is Ben Jarrett, 131 Roger Drive in Collinsville, Illinois. What I want to know is how we can put this thing to bed. I'm tired of.
Right.
Where's the person that was her idea? Okay, I love you, but I disagree, and I know your heart's in the right place, and I'm being sincere. But I don't want this here. And I would help you at some other venture if you come up with an idea. But if we have to take a vote or whatever, I want to put it to bed because I don't want to hear about it no more. This is too important to the seniors. And there's a few of us here, but we serve maybe 100 people almost every day for lunch on Tuesday and Fridays. So, I don't want them to be deprived of anything. And one other thing, I've seen on TV over in St. Louis where they had shelters, and they interviewed the people and they said they didn't want to go to the shelters. They wanted to stay in their tents. So, how are you going to fix this? You can't. And I know your heart's in the right place. So thank you for your thoughts anyway, and I hope you're not mad at me. Half the time everybody is anyway.
Thanks, Ben. With what Ben just said, and I know being on other boards that this is possible, we have never done this here, but I will accept a motion if we would move the discussion, because it's the last thing on the agenda. Let's just go on and move it up.
I'll second that.
Okay. I second. All right, roll call?
Trustee Sewell?
Yes.
Stewart?
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Supervisor.
Yes. All right, I'm sorry to
it's
Aaron
fine.
from Helio, but we'll get through
I'm
it.
actually a volunteer for these groups.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, I know
Matt
this.
did. So let me just say one thing, and then I'll let you guys, we'll all chat about it. But first, again, I truly believe that everybody's heart is in the right place. It's just that I believe, as one vote, that this is not the best location for an overnight shelter. I've been in meetings, like it's been mentioned by Lisa, for almost 3 years now, okay? And with the city, and last meeting, don't mean to put you on the spot, Jim, but Jim was there, and he was representing St. John's Church. The meeting started with City Manager Derek Jackson saying that the city would not be hosting a facility. And then what did he say, Jim? If you could.
He basically said that the senior center wasn't interested in doing it either, or wasn't going to do it either.
Well, yeah,
Not
he
sure
said that,
exactly
but he
what
said
it's
that he
for.
was,
Jim, speak up a little bit.
sorry, he doesn't have a mic.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry.
I can't really say what
Right.
he said word for word, but he basically said that the city pretty much eliminated all their options and that the township was not an option either.
And what he was saying, and we've had many conversations, that he doesn't agree with this being a location because he sees all the positive that goes on. He understands that we have yoga starting at 8:30 in the morning, okay? And who's going to move all that? It just doesn't make sense. And what we see here, and this is what makes me so proud and happy, is that we have had a positive impact. We've been successful. This board has been successful in transforming this and making it a great place for you guys. And I could do any job in the world, but when somebody comes up to me and says that this place has changed their life, that means a lot to me. It's more than money. And what I fear is that, again, when you think about bringing the cots and things like that in, that people are fearful. They're even, if there's somebody out in front of a business or a restaurant or whatever, they decide not to go to that restaurant, right? And so there are other options. And so, also, I talk to my staff because my staff is important to me. In this world, if you know, following things, it's hard to find good, caring staff that offers great customer service. We have a great staff here. And this is a letter. I didn't ask her. I said if you wanted to write something, because she didn't want to be here tonight. Staff doesn't like to get involved with the politics, all right? But it says, Dear Supervisor Cox and trustees, as director and staff of the Senior Center, I've been considering the possibilities of transforming this building into an overnight shelter. This raises several important questions about how to effectively support our homeless population while continuing to serve our senior members. Currently, this facility is crucial for our senior members, providing a welcoming space for them to mingle, share a healthy hot meal, feel safe. Some seniors even come early to partake in card games and use the space before official opening hours. Historically, this building has served as an overnight shelter for the homeless community when the center was closed. This is during COVID. The center serving anywhere from 50 to 125 people a day, converting it into a shelter would disrupt the regular service we offer. This raises practical concerns such as who will clean up the shelter, service necessary, the equipment, where the equipment's going to be stored. There's also no proper showering facility. Furthermore, we must consider whether township will pause regular center activities to accommodate these new shelter services. As you all assess our community needs for a warming center, I strongly recommend carefully addressing all logistical aspects before proceeding with the vote on this service. We must ensure we can support both our senior members and the homeless populations effectively. Your staff, and it's Gabrielle, Kelly, and Cinda, sign that.
Yeah.
So, I thank them for that. And I also want to bring up another question that was brought up before we discussed this. But I had a call into, this came, just so you all know, this came to us Friday early evening. You requested it to be on. So I was waiting for a call from our insurance to find out what that is. I happened to be in our attorney's office when I talked to the insurance company when he called. Do you mind just saying, do you remember?
I can't remember exactly what the phrase he used was, but he said it would drastically alter the policy that was in effect, basically.
I think the phrase, if I remember, he goes, wow, I can't believe it, that would be a game changer. And they don't know if they could do that. Now, in some facilities, maybe they could. This is a government facility to stay overnight. And again, not downing the homeless. I have a heart just like everybody else. But there's also a reason that you're in that position. There's a lot of mental health issues. I really wish the county, the state, our federal government could figure out something for the mentally ill. All right? This is a great place that we've worked really hard. We have a great family here. And I'm scared that will ruin the things that we have going on. So that's what I have right now, and I'll turn the floor over to the trustees.
Okay, so I was the one that requested this. Again, this got brought up because this has been a community conversation for 3+ years. 3 of us at this table attended a meeting, was it last week, week before last? Where all of this information was shared. So the point of adding it to this agenda was that other trustees who weren't able to attend that meeting wanted to know what kind of conversations took place. And so that way, 3 of us were at that meeting, and so it's really just what it is on the agenda. It's a discussion about an overnight warming location, not a homeless shelter. Just like what Lisa said, overnight warming location could also be if your furnace goes out. So it's not people who are necessarily homeless. It could be, but it doesn't have to be. It could be people who didn't get to pay their utility bill that month. So in that meeting, there was a whole bunch of information shared, which I went ahead and provided all the trustees. Some of us received that information at the meeting. But that includes, so it's the overnight warming location, and like Lisa mentioned, there's a location in Alton and Edwardsville. This would be a Collinsville location. And so we could structure that however we want to. They provided sample intake forms. They provided a memorandum of understanding if we in fact decide to just, it wouldn't cost us money, but if we have, I'm trying to think who it is, the Alton Mission manage it, it would just be us coming up with an agreement with them. So we have a sample memorandum of understanding form. We also have a sample of their policy manual. So we have all of the information from the existing overnight warming locations. Another reason why this was brought up is because cities are starting to look at the costs. The longer you go without addressing homelessness and mental health, the more taxpayers pay. So cities are looking at options like this because they found in the long run it's actually more cost effective. Having a memorandum of understanding with the police department would allow a resource officer to be here to monitor the overnight warming location, and it wouldn't cost the taxpayers anything out of the township. That being said, we already allocate so many funds to general assistance, so we would make sure that whatever services and resources that we provide would fall within that budget. I provided the trustees with packets on different grants that are available. I provided the trustees with packets on state laws and how we get our funding and how a certain amount of general assistance is allocated for townships. So all of that is included in the packet as well. I also want to talk about, it is a senior center. I do remember when I started though, there was a lot of conversation about making it a community center. But I want you to realize the fastest growing population of the homeless, of people that are unhoused, are the seniors. It's people who are on fixed income and are struggling from month to month. So I have a statistic here, and it says individuals aged 50 and above are the fastest growing segment among those experiencing homelessness. Those numbers are projected to triple by 2030. So again, we come to these decisions. I serve here as a trustee. I serve on the Madison County Community Service Block Grant Advisory Council. We just conducted a countywide needs assessment. The city and the township, we're constantly looking at needs assessments and how to address those needs. We know that there's businesses in town that are complaining about some of this. We also know the financial responsibility that has. Cities have been sued when people, I feel like it happened in Alton not that long ago. A citizen that was unhoused had frostbite and had to go to the hospital. Who pays for that? So again, we have to consider all of that, the fiduciary and the financial, the legal ramifications when the city continues to not address these issues. And again, coming to this where this is part of our responsibility as township with general assistance and figuring that out. It also is a community need that is not being addressed, and we've had several searches. Like, as of now, no other facility has offered to do this after 3 years. So again, this was a discussion. We're not voting on anything officially tonight. I'm happy to answer questions. I think for the volunteers, they do have designated staff. It's just like the soup kitchen, where you have a group of 3, 4, 5, however many you need people that are scheduled. And it would be, we could have a resource officer or anything like that. Examples of partnerships that we would be able to do, which we've already had conversations with some of these other organizations, at least I have. That would include the the Veterans Assistance Program of Madison County, because veterans is also a very large number of people that are experiencing homelessness. Chestnut Health Systems, we spoke with even practicum students at the social work department. I know I have a whole list somewhere, but we wouldn't be doing this by ourselves. It would be a partnership, and all of that would be in contracts and MOUs and IGAs. So I think I answered all of the questions that came in.
Why the senior center? There's
Hold on.
lots of buildings.
Right, let me address just a couple of things.
Sure.
Because we were in the same meeting, and again, the other trustees don't take it I don't know, you, St. John put you, and then you came and represented, is it Owl, or? So I didn't know who was gonna be there,
No,
just
we
so
aren't
everybody
taking it
knows.
personal, but the
Gotcha.
whole purpose of this meeting is a learning opportunity
Great,
for us.
great,
Yes.
but let me address that though. In that meeting, all right, there was a few things that were said. One was, please raise your hand if you want to be the person to really go out and find something, because we had many churches that, you didn't raise your hand.
Derek, I got a,
Hold-
sorry,
hold-
okay. The county was brought up, I have a question you could
Anyway,
answer about mental health.
hold on. Lisa raised her hand, all right, and so I don't know, so I was caught off guard when you put it on our agenda, and then on Facebook said that you want a resolution and you want people to come and voice their opinions, all right? The other thing is general assistance. I spent 6 hours yesterday up in Springfield on general assistance, because one of the problems / I guess it's a good thing, but it's still a hard thing. It is very strict, because it's taxpayers' money on assisting folks, right? Absolutely not for the senior center. I would love for that general assistance budget to help with the senior center. I asked the lawyer, I asked 4 years ago, because we had over $100,000 too much. It is strict on what you have to, it's for the person, it's for, you had to apply to, you're not getting SSI, you're not getting TANF, you're not getting anything else, right? And so you cannot transfer that money at all. We can use it for water assistance, and that's what I would like to start doing more, because the water assistance at the county went away. The CSPG block grant, we get $5,000 now. That's what we get for the whole year, and that helps fund our food cost, all right? So I don't know, the budget's not gonna come out of GA. The other thing that was mentioned at the meeting that scared me, and I know Jim heard it, and I know the city manager heard it, but David Kerr was, from the county, was there, and he mentioned that there is no more room. And this is, just so everybody knows, this is not a Collinsville problem. This is and it's bigger problem near Chicago. This was the whole meeting the other day. And we're talking 60 or 70 here is what we were told at the meeting. We're talking hundreds and thousands of people closer to Chicago.
You mean
all right?
homeless people?
Yes, people that need a place to stay. My point is, David Kerr for Madison County said, well, we could bring buses and we could bring them from Alton to Collinsville. All right? You heard that. And so what I'm saying is, everybody kind of, all right? My point is that it goes back to Wendy's question. We're not against it. We need a place, Lisa. We gotta find a place, all right? But this is the center, look how great it's doing, okay? This is not the place for it, because it will negatively impact seniors who do need it, or there's other places that it won't negatively impact. That's where I'm at.
So what's the answer to the question? Why the senior center?
So the senior center used to be a warming location, and my understanding is,
It wasn't a senior center.
and my understanding is that there was a generator that was purchased with grant funding. Now, that was before me. This is something that residents came to me and said, maybe it's something we need to discuss. But again, the center used to be a warming location. Yes, it was
And
during the
that's the
pandemic.
only reason you decided on the senior center, because at one time in the past, it was a warming location?
And so, what we have to do, we have to keep.
I'm really asking the
I know,
question. I really wanna know.
I know, Wendy, but what I was gonna say is we have to keep, the rules and decorum of the meeting. So I understand. Let me answer that question, but it was during COVID, and there was nobody in here. And I was a trustee at the time, and I wanted it to be used for more of it was a daycare, because parents didn't have anywhere to take their kids, all right? And the board disagreed, and they did a homeless thing, all right? So they brought in cots and things like that. Now, I don't know, I wasn't here, but my staff did not like it. Things got broke, you asked Cinda, and when they heard about this, they didn't like it, so.
Another response I have about the senior center is that we also compare what other townships are doing. So this is something where if we see a need in our community, how are we handling and addressing those issues, and also how are other townships handling and addressing those issues? Other townships that are smaller than us have full-time caseworkers on site. Some of them actually manage a homeless center. So again, this is not out of the realm of what townships do in the state. So I also wanted to make that a point as well.
All right. I'll allow a couple questions. And then, do you guys you would like to speak first? Yes, okay, and then we'll get to you guys, I promise. All right, so go ahead, Matt.
No, and I just want to go back to, this is going to be unpopular, but the business of the township is general assistance, absolutely. 100%, there are three basic functions of a township. First one is GA, roads and bridges, and assessors, that's it. The nice to haves, and they're nice to have. I don't want this to be a negative projection here, right? I'm very proud of what Derek has done here, and the employees, the board. This used to be, and for lack of a better description, like a nursing home. I mean, you would go in and there would be very few people here, and it wasn't lively. It wasn't, there are 100 people here at lunch. I'm here. I don't come up here. I come up here because I enjoy it, because I like to help serve. I don't want to see this go away. But our primary function is general assistance. We have to show, and aside from this, right, we have to show we're the custodians of that, right? We need to be looking into these things, as Ashley said, and vetting them out. I second the motion for us to have this meeting tonight because I didn't know what the meeting that they had been to, and all of this discussion about they want to open it up for a warming center. Well, we were a warming center in the past. Okay, well, why did that change? Why didn't that continue? I didn't know the answers to that. We should know the answers to that if we're going to vote and make decisions, right?
Yeah, so it's been said several times that these meetings had been going on for like 3 years or so, 2.5, 3 years. Shame on me for not paying attention, I guess. I literally just found out the afternoon after the last meeting when I bumped into Derek and Jim on Main Street enjoying a nice lunch at Fridays. So tonight was a great opportunity to open the door, have the discussion, figure out what these meetings have been about. I appreciate everybody's comments. We have your opinions and your feelings out in the open now. That's part of the equation when making these decisions. I'm not standing here saying I'm for or against. I'm here to understand what the problem is and how the township, no matter what, can be part of the solution. If it's not hosting, it's financial support. If it's not financial support, it's getting volunteers. There's many, many opportunities for the entire community to come together and make something like this work. And the township, this board in particular, takes pride in making sure that we help our community no matter what it is. One last comment that I'm going to make. Mr. Nicolucci, I love you, brother, but you cannot come here and make personal attacks on somebody in this board.
I didn't make personal attacks.
You
need
did.
to learn what a point of order means.
You did. I'm calling
No,
a
I
point
didn't.
of order. This isn't your board.
We need to learn what a point of order is then.
So I'm just saying right now, this is my time to talk, bud.
He didn't say a name, but go ahead. I understand. We know.
You sat here.
We know, but he didn't say a name, but just leave it be.
No, I'm not leaving it be. I'm just saying it was disrespectful and you should apologize.
I think you're disrespectful. I like to
Let's all grow up.
Okay, but you mentioned something. That I absolutely agree with. Okay, we have funds, and we've done fundraisers. We've done many fundraisers up here, to mouse races, to chicken and dumplings. The empty bowl, that was never done before this board. $15,000 for the food pantry, okay? We're open to help fund these projects, right? But when it comes to actually these pots of money that you're talking about, there are strict laws because that is their money. You can't just spend it how you want to spend it. There are strict laws. And I am very proud of my staff. We fill out the most LIHEAP applications in the county. They're coming from Alton, they're coming from Edwardsville, because they're not answering their phones up there. They're not meeting with these people to fill it out. All right, we're working our butts off up there. We have not, by law, denied a single general assistance application that is brought to me since I've been here. Everyone that's come in here, we brought, all right? We've added programs. We advertise with the city now, and the city scoop, things like that. So I agree, we could always do more, and we're trying to do more, but when it comes to this particular subject, I think it's clear, and to Benny's point, I would like to put it to bed. I think that, Lisa, I'll help you try to find another place. Jim, you have a meeting next week with St. John. St. John does all kinds of excellent work in our community, and they might have a great location that won't affect like it would these folks here, you know, our seniors. So I'll take a couple of questions and then we'll move on. Yeah, go ahead.
So you had mentioned that multiples of communities are doing warming centers. What kind of facilities are those? Are those like churches, or are they stepping up, or, you know, kind of give us an idea? Do they use senior centers across the boards and communities for warming centers?
I'm sure it's a mix. I haven't looked specifically into what building is what. I know the Edwardsville and Alton location are churches. Again, we've met with multiple pastors from different local churches and nobody has taken this on. Rightfully so. One church is working with foster care training, another church is working with military veterans. So each church, you know, it just depends on what people are capable of doing. But
so as a rule, it's like not seniors across the board. And then I had another thing to ask too. You know, hearing the people with their concerns, well, and a statement basically, but because we have a place during the day, because we have a meal for people here during the day, because they can, again, come and enjoy and be happy and healthy, will we be risking maybe putting somebody on the street because they're scared of coming here? You know, because they're afraid.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think this has been great tonight, and here's why I think it's been great. Because more residents are becoming aware that there is, and people who are board members and trustees here are becoming aware that there has been motion to get an overnight warming location. To your point, it wasn't, hey, we want it over there at the senior center. No, we've been discussing all the different options. It was never said, let's go get it at the senior center. But it was like, oh, I remember when it used to be there? How about teepee? How about this church? How about this empty building? How about the senior center? It was all collectively discussed. So I see tonight as a win because some decision makers know a little bit more. More importantly, residents are more aware of this, because when we say homeless, we all have a picture in our head. Those aren't necessarily the people coming to an overnight warming location. It's not a shelter, and I think we've all learned that tonight, that it serves a wide variety of people. Love that you keep bringing up that the fastest growing population is people 50 and older. 11,000 people a day in this country turn 65. 11,000 people a day. So I love that the decision makers and the community members are coming together to learn about this, to figure out what we can do. Maybe one of you knows a church. Maybe one of you goes to a church that might be interested in working with the group that's trying to put this together. The word is out. I feel like a lot of people here tonight learned a lot, and I'm so appreciative of that.
Yes, Jen?
I feel like there's empty buildings should be used first, to be looked at first, because you're not affecting people in it. Here you're affecting people in it, with empty buildings you're not.
We've been trying that. Again, this has been going on for a long time. This location was one of many that has been suggested.
Because this one's already established.
And just want to say this, because, and you mentioned it a few times, the city. The city hasn't had a meeting like this. And maybe to our credit, but also that's why it's scary. If you put it on the agenda and you put it on Facebook that you're wanting to do this, that scares these folks. Do you see what I'm saying? And that's is legitimate. And so that's why.
So, I do want to clarify that the city manager is the one that organized the homeless coalition meetings that have been happening
Yes.
for multiple years. And
Yes.
I have had conversations with him separately, and he also was asking about, you know, he knew we had a generator and that this was a location in the past. With that being said, you know, we don't have the showers, but the mention of like hygiene products and community members will come together to make those hygiene bags, like almost like a goodie bag. But, and I also want to make the point of what was discussed at the meeting that we attended was the amount of donations that they receive and also the other financial help that they get at those other overnight warming locations. So cots have been donated, blankets have been donated, pillows have been donated, hygiene products have been donated, United Way will chip in, other corporations will donate. If it's Ameren, if it's another big corporation, they, you know, it looks good for them as well. So they receive donations from all of those people as well. If we needed to do a local fundraiser, again, part of the packet that I included is Illinois has a new grant program for, it's called Home Illinois. The state of Illinois understands that homelessness is rising significantly, and so there are grant opportunities available through the state for that as well. So again, there's multiple funding opportunities. This was part of our discussion this evening, so.
Yeah, we got Matt, and then two more, and then we're done. Yeah.
I just want, go ahead there first.
Okay,
I was
Paul.
concerned something about the mental health board. We spend $3 million a year as a county on mental health right now. Through the county and grants, we spend $5 million on the homeless situation. That's not counting all the nonprofits. I'm not sure more money is the way to go to fix this thing, because that's a lot of money. And if we pay more, tax levies are gonna go through the roof. So I think the way to go is nonprofits, and I don't wanna put words in Ms. Stewart's mouth. Did she say the city manager was short term the senior center, do a warming center? Because it's most definitely not. I talked to him.
Yeah, that's not what I was told. He called me and
No, I'm
concerned
not sure
that
if
this
she
was
said it or
going
not,
on.
but I might have heard.
She did.
That's what he told you?
He made the reference that, like, he knew that there was a generator here and it was used as that in the past, so.
Did he say that he was for it? Because he told me he didn't tell me that.
I mean, he, just like everyone else that attended that meeting, we're just trying to find a solution for an issue, wherever that may be.
Okay,
So,
I thought you said you spoke to him alone. You two were talking,
Yeah.
and he suggested the senior center. That's what you just said, right?
I didn't say that he suggested the center.
Anyway, he absolutely, Jim was in the meeting, absolutely started, and I did not put him up to this, and I appreciated him saying this. He said Supervisor Cox, but he said, has done an excellent job of everything going on at the senior center. That is not the appropriate place. And then he says, and I don't want to put any pressure
Right.
on anybody. That's exactly what he said.
And I think that's what was gonna be my comment.
Mhm.
You done back there?
Yeah, you got one more. Yeah.
Oh, go
I
ahead.
have these other facilities said no, for every reason, and the ones that said yes, has that solved the homeless problem?
I think from a board's perspective, at least
Right.
speaking for myself. as a
Yes.
trustee, right,
All right, hold on. Good. Go ahead, Matt. Matt's got the floor.
To confront this head on
Yes.
in the future,
Mhm.
similar circumstances, right? That once you learn that and understand that the township is not a viable,
Right.
then to inform us of that, right? We wouldn't be sitting here tonight, I don't think, right? If we had, and I'm not saying you didn't say, I mean, I know in passing, we've said, we've had those conversations. How is this gonna work? It's not gonna, you know,
Right.
those types of conversations. But when you make a decision, you know, to inform us all that, hey, this is the decision, you're the supervisor.
Yeah, and I will
This
take.
is why I made it, right?
Right, and
You guys don't know all the details. I
in
gather-
my defense, a little bit, this was going on 3 years ago,
Sure.
and I don't know if you remember, I take it more personally than probably I should. I will be honest, because I love this place, right? And right when we started, when it all started, right when we started, there was a post made on Facebook by a friend of mine suggesting that they we make this a center. And there's a big old thing on Facebook, and I suggested that we do like St. Louis does, I said on Bi-State Board, and have buses that we actually, the bus runs next to the police station, they would have bathrooms, and so that's where that was, and I guess what I'm saying is, I thought that you guys knew my position, that the senior center was not going to be that again. That's my fault, that I thought you guys knew.
I'm just, and that's my, it's just, constructive
Yeah,
criticism.
yeah, it's all good.
If we know that ahead of time, we wouldn't be sitting here asking
Right,
questions.
so, yeah, I was caught off guard myself, so
But
we're all.
to Lisa's point, I think it's been a great
Yeah,
conversation.
all right, one more, Gary.
What do we gain if you move the homeless or make this a warming shelter and you run all the seniors away who come here? I
Right.
mean, you're not gaining anything, you just run more people off.
Right.
And also, I see people come in from all over the place every day to get these pizzas and stuff you guys give away.
Right.
Isn't that general assistance? I mean, in some form?
It is, and that's what I'm glad that you brought up, Gary, because I do believe that what we do here is a form of assistance. It is very much so. Again, we change people's lives. Wendy, I met you a year ago, and we see you every day in here now, and so that makes, it is a form of
And
assistance.
I think like when you started the meeting off, you said we all have the same heart.
Yeah.
We all want the same, and we all love the senior center.
Yeah,
I think,
right.
it's like, we don't want ill things to come to
It's a
this
problem
either.
bigger than us.
Right.
And, we want to help, but we also want to keep what we have going here going. And so.
And we're here to serve the seniors, not the homeless.
So part of the transparency as well is whenever I get a lot of questions, I think this is where we have those conversations. And so if I have people saying, well, I'm seeing people going on trips out of state, or I'm seeing, all of these different parties happening, but we have a homeless population that is struggling. I feel like we, as your electeds, we have to be transparent about that, and that's where we have the floor to have these conversations. It's an opportunity for us to communicate, and as well as the community, but it's valid questions. There's a lot of activities happening and a lot of trips happening, and so people are just wondering where's the gap, what's going on. So.
And just to clarify on that, these folks pay for all that. All right, the taxpayers do not pay for that.
Well,
We get a
So,
vote.
I just want to
The
clear.
visuals of
I
it.
don't
The
want people to think that.
You didn't hear what he said.
I said that the taxpayers do not pay for the trips.
We pay for our trips.
Right, if
We
they
write
went to
check.
the big trip to Savannah and things like that, that was all, they paid 100% of that.
Yeah.
All right, one more and then we'll move on, I'm sorry, go ahead.
We've worked hard all our life, we deserve to do some fun things if we want to, I think, we've worked our butts off all our life.
Yeah.
We're older now, if we wanna go on a trip, I don't think it should be anybody else's business. Some of these homeless are probably that way because they don't wanna be, but some may just not have a good attitude toward work, and that's sad.
Why don't you just build a homeless shelter and leave us our senior center?
All right, can we move on? We good to move on? Okay, we're good to move on. If you guys want to, I know it's 8 o'clock and that's pretty late. If you guys want to, but we're going to continue our meeting. I really, truly appreciate all of you guys coming tonight, all right?
One quick question.
Can we vote?
I'm not going to be calling for this on the agenda again.
I would, in the sense that if people are curious what the solution will be. So I know like Jim has a meeting coming up, and I'm sure there's more city meetings coming up. I don't know if you want that on the agenda or if you want that as internal communications, but again, I feel like now the residents should know.
The seniors would like to know when this is put to bed, because as you know, and you heard, we don't want it here.
We'd like to
Right.
vote.
Matt, what were you saying?
Yeah, and I believe that the question is, when will we agree that the senior center is not a viable option, right? Not that the solution is.
I guess I can ask, because Brad, you haven't said much or anything.
I'm trying to get a word in here, but I'm being polite.
Go ahead, Brad, go ahead.
So, my thing is, and I have been a long-term advocate for doing something for the homeless. Now, if you can identify 523 people, 526, and I think it said 523 There was two numbers there, and I don't remember, but specifically, if we can identify the people that need help in our own community, we should focus on programs that help them. But if we broadcast that there's a warming center in downtown Collinsville,
Yes. You'll have people from all over.
what are all these people that we've attracted business owners to put their business on Main Street? What about them? And here again, what about our seniors that have been supporting this program and what goes on here? I want to do something for the homeless, but in my opinion, this building is out of the question.
Yes.
So, to answer Finn's question, maybe we can, I don't know, do you want to raise your hand if you wouldn't second, if we can put this, how do we legally?
I mean, this is all that's on the agenda, it's just a discussion.
Well, and I want to address, because the points that you just made were discussed at the last meeting. So what causes people to become transient is when they have to go to cities away to get resources. So the pastors that run the Edwardsville and the Alton location said it takes a community. So when there's a center in Edwardsville, when there's a center in Alton, if there's a center in Collinsville, if there's a center somewhere else, people will be less likely to be transient because there'll be more resources available. Also, statistically speaking, they want to be by family. Whether they're homeless or have mental illness or whatever, a lot of people gravitate towards a 5-mile radius of where their family is. And so, again, it's kind of looking at it from a holistic approach of a community and a county well-being approach where we're helping each other and we're making it so people don't have to be as transient. The one other point that you said is the businesses, and that was discussed a lot at that meeting. And we're in a situation where we can't help our businesses and our economic development. You can't have both ways. I feel like we're in a situation where we complain about what it looks like and people hanging out in front of businesses, but nobody is stepping up to be a place. And so we're stuck in this you can't have both ways type thing. At some point, hopefully, we'll have a solution. But that's why I'm glad we were able to have this discussion tonight.
So, I worked in downtown St. Louis, 2 blocks from the Salvation Army Center from 1996 to 2001. In 2001, I moved to St. Charles to manage a business, 2 blocks from the Salvation Army there. And continually, I watched as the St. Louis police would pick up the vagrants around the St. Louis area and ship them to St. Charles and drop them off right 2 blocks from where I work. And then the St. Charles police would round them up over the next couple days as they wandered around down there and drive them back on a bus down to St. Louis. That's transient. That's not the kind of transient we want. I agree. This is a great beginning of a discussion. But I think the people that have paid the taxes to put this building together, pay our meager salaries, have come here to say no. You got 3 people for it, maybe 4.
Oh, I don't know if we have any. That's what, I guess my question is, my question is, maybe you can let them know that you agree maybe this isn't the place, and then we can move on, and we'll work together as a township board to help
I'd be more than
fund a
happy.
place or anything.
I've been looking for
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would like for the township to contribute in a way.
Sure.
Just like our decennial report and everything was
Absolutely.
saying. So we still addressed it as a need, so I would like to
Sure.
still explore that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I promise you on that.
I'm with you.
All right, we will work to, with financial, if it's fundraising or whatever. And Lisa, any meetings you want me to go to, I appreciate you trying to, you were the one that raised your hand in the meeting. So, anyway.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
and I really would love to hear from
Just a
anybody
reminder,
who
right?
has a church
Without a
connection.
township, there is no senior center, right? Without general assistance, there is no township.
Yeah.
So it's a balance, right? And I understand, I haven't read through all this, so I'm not gonna tell you that I'm not gonna say yes or no, because I don't know. But I don't, with the information that I do have, I have the same questions that all of you presented tonight. That's why I wanted this, right? To understand more about what was being proposed. Not to shuffle this through and jeopardize our seniors, not at all. I would hope that if we've presented our